Making this country a high-skill, high-wage economy. First time somebody asked for a pay rise? No. You can have a high wage just as long as you don't have a high wage. Those are the rules. Unless you're rich already, of course, in which case, fill your boots. The difference in fortunes between the wealthiest and the lowest earners during the cost of living crisis has been laid bare in new figures. Analysis of official data shows that since the peak of the COVID pandemic, the top 1% have seen incomes rise more than 16%. Wow. Has your income risen 16% in the last 2 years? I'll assume that the answer is no.
No.
The Office for National Statistics has pointed to bumper bonuses in the financial services business, the financial finagling racket. No! That's one of the reasons for the big divide. Did you receive a bumper bonus just for showing up for work? I'll assume the answer is no to that too.
Yes.
Taking consumer prices index inflation into account, regular wages, excluding bonuses, plunged by the annual equivalent of 4.5% in April. The worst fall since records began, ever. And in the 3 months to April, the rate of increase for financial services workers was 10.6%. Everybody else went down by 4.5%. People in the finance racket went up by 10.6%. Way above inflation. Way above the thing that the government is now telling you that you can't ask for. Pay above inflation. Not allowed to. You're not worth it. Because you don't move numbers around on a screen. You actually probably make something or provide a service. Analysis of the most up-to-date figures for PAYE employees reveal that since July 2020, the top 1% have seen their earnings grow by 16%. From £12,370 a month to £14,376 a month. That's the top 1%, which is considerably more than anybody that's working on the railways are asking for instance. Has a government official come out and said that people in the finance racket can't have a 16% pay rise for the benefit of the nation, because otherwise they'll fuel inflation? Can't say I've heard them say that. Curious. Of course, in some sectors, it's been absolutely abysmal. The arts and the entertainment sectors, their earnings have effectively flatlined. 0.1% growth, while inflation is running away at, 10%, 11%, something like that. So the arts and the entertainment sector, which are, packed to the gunnels with lefty lovies, they lose again. But, it's not like this country is internationally famous for our arts and entertainment industry or anything.
Rock and roll!
It's why people come here. They get nothing. And we got about 1.3 million unfilled jobs. Payroll numbers are up. We have not full employment. There is no such thing as full employment. It's what economists call full employment. But we also have 1.3 million unfilled jobs. I wonder who used to do those. Who could it have been that used to do those jobs? God, it's a wonder, isn't it? It's almost on the tip of my tongue. I can't quite figure who it might have been. 1.3 million people. Unemployment dropped to 3.8%. So, everything's coming up roses and sunshine. Nicholas says, a place that looks war-torn, destroyed, with people devoid of hope, and a place you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy right now. Doncaster isn't great. I can see why Boris went to Kyiv, which has an upbeat feel. Well, that's just a fact. It's at the top of my holiday destination list. Yeah, he swerved Doncaster for fear of the reception he'd get there. So we went to a war zone instead for some fun and a photo opportunity. Northern Tory MPs today made a series of demands of ministers, including but not limited to tax cuts, more local powers and extra cash. when they gathered for the Red Wall conference in the absence of His Imperial Bodgeness.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Who was busy trying to glad hand people that don't know him very well. I haven't formed a negative opinion yet. Or perhaps have, and are just, guying him along for whatever they can get out of him. Why not? At their inaugural conference in Doncaster, South Yorkshire, the Northern Research Group, they're all research groups, these people. What's that about? What are you researching exactly? The 80-strong Northern Research Group of Conservative MPs put pressure on the PM and the Chancellor Fri-Sun to deliver on their levelling up agenda amidst the cost of living crisis. You don't buy that levelling up stuff, do you? At their inaugural conference in Doncaster, South Yorkshire, NRG Chair Jake Berry unveiled the group's mini manifesto. Oh, great. Another Tory manifesto. The one surefire way of knowing what the Tories are not going to do is to read their manifesto telling you what they are going to do. So here's their little scheme about what it is that they're pretending they're going to do. They call for greater devolution of powers to local areas. They won't get that. Including the right to lower taxes. They won't get that. The scrapping of central house building targets. They ain't going to get that. The creation of 2 Vauxbridge vocational institutions in the north to rival Oxford and Cambridge universities. Well, they aren't going to get that. Not their Oxbridge masters. They aren't going to let that happen. Jake Berry also questioned why the Treasury was creating a new northern campus in Darlington when the whole Whitehall department could move to the north instead and have a smaller London campus. Well, they ain't going to get that either. Fri-Sun doesn't want to work in Darlington. Mr. Twinkle-Toes billionaire, I bet the sat-nav in his car would commit suicide rather than take him to Darlington. The PM had been due to address MPs at the Northern Research Group conference, but instead ran away to somewhere they haven't figured out that he can't be trusted yet. Because they've got other things on their minds. You know, they're busy, what with being in a war and all. Oh, what a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
The PM had been due to address them, but did his usual. His appearance in Doncaster would have been an opportunity for him to build bridges with Tory MPs after his battering in a no-confidence vote earlier this month. But as people in London will tell you, Boris Johnson doesn't build bridges. It's another one of those I'm gonners. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Right. How's that bridge coming along, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Following the Tories' success in Labour's so-called Red Wall areas at the 2019 general election, the Northern Research Group. There's always something sinister about any these groups. Like they always call themselves the Research Group. Don't you find that a little bit sinister? And they're always the same people as well. Although I bet not the Northern Research Group. I mean, they may have the same, core backing of people, but I would imagine that they don't actually go to the north. They just lend their support. Those eyeing a future in Conservative leadership are said to trying to woo the group ahead of any contest, which is, probably another reason that Bodge didn't want to go there. Northern Tory MP Jake Berry warned that it would be a mistake to see the decision by former Labour voters to switch the Tories in Red Wall areas as a permanent change. Well, you can't fool all of the people all of the time. But they only have to fool 44% of the people enough of the time to get back in. But he's trying to fool the poor by telling them that the way out of their misery is to lower taxes. This, it's not just Jake Berry who's insisting on lowering taxes. That seems to be his thing. Lower taxes, and then the poor will be happy. No, it won't make the slightest bit of difference. In fact, it'll probably make their life worse. I mean, I can go through the numbers. I can do mental arithmetic on the air.
Oh, no.
And I'll work it out for you, how tax cuts only benefit the rich. But it is the refrain, and that's what they're trying to persuade you, that if they just cut taxes just a little bit, which of course they'll do immediately before the next general election, they've said the quiet part out loud. Fishy Sunak actually said that. You're not supposed to say it, Suni. You're supposed to do it, not say it. You ain't supposed to tell us the plan. But when they do that, it will affect the almost all of us, in no way whatsoever. It won't improve our lives at all. If you're rich, though, big money, huge.